The thing about this character that caught my attention was, or is, that I'm always, as an actor, looking for roles that are different. And just personally, I like choosing roles that have, that are just strong female characters.
My character, Sarah, she's your typical teenage girl. She's 15 years old, and she lives with her single mom, and she's basically just trying to figure out who she is in the world. She's spending time. She has her best friend, Tyler, that she loves to hang out with. She's obsessed with getting a boyfriend. That's very, very important to her, as it is with every teenage girl. And so her focus is her friends, and her mom. And she's just your typical teenage girl trying to figure out who she is and how she belongs.
Alex Lofton, he's a doctor. He's an expert witness for Jess's law firm for a lawsuit that they have. But more importantly, he's a man who has kind of lost his world. His wife has left him. His children aren't with him anymore. I think he probably doesn't feel like much of a man. And he meets Jess and discovers himself again through her, I think. Alex is attracted to Jess, I think primarily because he feels like a man again, which he hasn't felt for 7 years. And that's really debilitating for a man, you know? I think he really thinks he's in love with her. I don't know that he is. He may or may not be, but I think he really is. Really does think he's in love with her.
Sarah's character is dealing with a lot of conflicts in the movie. The first one, primarily, that she spends a lot of time with is with her mom. She and her mom have had this amazing relationship up until then. And throughout the movie, they're each kind of experimenting with who they are. Sarah's trying to assert herself as an individual, and her mom is also trying to figure out who she is. And so she's dealing with the conflicts of her mother. She's also dealing with the conflicts of the values her mother has instilled in her since childhood, the do the right thing kind of thing. And there's a conflict between what her mother has told her and everything that her peers, or the pressure that she's feeling from them.
I don't think there are too many conflicts in Alex's situation in the action of this piece until the very end of his involvement, when he kind of has to decide between his children and his family and himself being himself with Jess.
My character's most courageous moment in the movie, I think actually there are a couple. I think that choosing to have a baby at the age that she's choosing, and the fact that she is choosing to do it alone, is very courageous. And to continue working and educating herself, I think, is very courageous. And I also think that that allowing this man, making it okay for this man to go back to his family and have his life with his children was a pretty courageous decision.
I think Alex's most courageous moment is leaving Jess for his children. Alex goes back to his wife for a family, I think, and for duty, and for honor, and for all those things that make you a man. You know, so it's kind of it's ironic that to fulfill his duties as a man, he has to put himself into a situation where he doesn't feel like a man. Sad, actually. It really kind of breaks my heart.
The pivotal moment for Sarah is, going back to the whole sex thing, is when she sees Chad and Lisa together, the guy she has this huge crush on, and the girl who she thought was her best friend. When she sees them together, it just tears her apart, because Sarah had such high hopes and such strong feelings for Chad, that moment just really, really crushed her. And looking at that, she can see how possibly her mom could have been hurt. And Sarah realized that she needs her mom. She needs that foundation in her life. And she realizes what her mom has to say is important, and her mom really is trying to help her. And so I definitely think that Christmas party, the night of the Christmas party, is such a learning, such an amazing experience for Sarah. As much as it hurts her, I think it helps her.
The best moment in the movie for me is when the Jess character is trying to tell her daughter that, you know, at 15 she's maybe not ready for sex, but when she is, she has to learn how to trust her heart and not her hormones. And then the daughter basically goes out with her best friend, who's a boy, and because she's quite desperate to kind of lose her virginity or experience her sexuality in some way, and she makes an effort to do it with him. And halfway through, she realizes it doesn't feel right. And she actually is able to have a conversation with him about that and act on that impulse. And I thought that's a really good, strong message, that to trust, you know, the voice inside of you as to when something is right and when something is wrong. You know, I'm a dad with 3 young girls, and you know, it was for me a little bit of seeing into the future and seeing where they're, you know, where they might be at when they're 15, 16, and I thought that was an important message to get behind.
This is a film about a mother and daughter, a single parent with a teenage daughter, and I guess it's kind of a film about awakening and reawakening. My character has been divorced for a long time and hasn't been in a relationship for a long time, and I have a 15-year-old daughter in this, and so as I meet a man and fall in love, she's a 15-year-old girl that is just starting to have all kinds of feelings about boys and her own sexuality, and the two of us, in a way, are kind of traveling through this awakening and reawakening together. And it's kind of a letting go for the mother, to allow this little person to become their own person. And so I think it's kind of, they're both growing up and going through it at the same time.
I think Jess definitely tries to acknowledge everything that Sarah's going through, but Jess definitely has her own set of issues, which I think is a contributor to the conflicts between them, is they each have their own kind of problems that they're dealing with, and so it's hard. They each need each other and they each want to help each other, but I think it's hard she acknowledges it, but I don't know that she can help.
I think it takes a little bit of time for my character to acknowledge that it is such a difficult time for Sarah, the daughter, because I think that it's almost like Sarah has grown up before, you know, the mother's eyes, and that she doesn't realize, there's a moment when she realizes that the daughter has become, you know, a young woman and is not just a child anymore. And I think that I don't think that is that happens right away, because I think that my character wants to make sure that she is a little girl for as long as she can possibly be a little girl. So I think that that's a difficult thing maybe for any parent to acknowledge, that they're growing up and becoming their own person.